Where I am today in terms of what the internet offers us. Real-time immediacy. You know, I can now talk to all of my constituents right at once and invite them to make a gift right now in a way that I could never do before in annual giving for education. You know, I can't call everybody in the phone-a-thon all at once. My paper mailing still needs to, you know, go through a discussion process and a rewrite process of about 3 months before I can get a paper mailing out the door. All of a sudden now, I can communicate with everybody all at once and ask them to do something. And we'll talk about what that's meant. I have fewer constraints than paper or phone. You know, there's not just all the setup, all the printing, all the lead time that's involved. That leads to it being more cost-effective in some ways, and we'll talk about what that gives us. Strengthened peer networking is really the whole Facebook point. And in the plenary session, the point was made that I really agreed with, that it's not just a Facebook application that we're looking for that's going to do the fundraising for us. It's the fact that Facebook connects all of my constituents together in a way that couldn't be done before. And what does that mean in terms of what I'm trying to accomplish in an annual giving program? A new canvas for the case for support, like the videos we showed when the session started. There's a way that I can talk about why you should make a gift to our institutions that I don't think we could do before. Anybody who has agonized over what's too long of an appeal letter, and you know, what's too long before people won't read it, and how much can I squeeze into a one-page letter, you know, understands now how the internet allows me to talk about the annual fund and talk about reasons for giving in a way that I couldn't do with the media that I had available previously. Information distributing and information gathering, we'll talk about both of those things, and they're maybe the two most important things on this list for me. Paying attention to who's raising their hand and who's demonstrating their affinity for your institution, you know, is a way that I couldn't capitalize on before. I mean, we spent fortunes over the years sending out alumni magazines, right? And then we cross our fingers and hope that somebody opens it and somebody reads it. Now I know if you send out an email newsletter, I know exactly who opens it and who's reading it, and a lot of places can tell me exactly what they're reading in the email newsletter. That's useful to annual giving in the way that we haven't been able to tap into before. And we'll come back to both of those. Greater transaction efficiency. Not only is it cheaper, I think it's now more user-friendly for people to be ongoing supporters of our institution in a way that we couldn't talk about before. Decentralized program management, and the point in the plenary session about how we're going to lose control in some ways in all of this democratization of the internet and through things like Facebook. But that's potentially powerful for me if I can accept the idea of a lot of other people being the spokesperson for my annual giving program. You know, it's almost like that we've come from being in a play where all of us were the actors and we had all the speaking lines and we made up all the messages and we sent out the messages. I think in some ways we're becoming the director of the play, that I can now have a lot of advocates talking about my annual fund through the internet if I can just come to grips with not being able to control everything all the time like I would like to. And potentially painless personalization. The internet's a great laboratory virtually in terms of learning what messages resonate, or as George Bush would have said, resonate with audiences, and adjusting that sort of on the fly. Anybody who's at a larger institution and has to manage a whole bunch of segments for paper letters, you know what I'm talking about in terms of how difficult and complicated that can be. The internet now allows me to potentially, you know, craft messages specific to the individual in a way that doesn't have to clog up my printer or otherwise blow up my whole segmentation strategy. Okay, so let's deconstruct that list and look at some examples of what I'm talking about.